Alrighty. Okay, great to be here with the fantastic and talented Sirkitree, everybody.
Hello.
Joining us from live inside the Infomatix Metaverse. How you doing today, Sirkitree?
Great. I just had my kids' first baseball practice today.
Okay, that's a big milestone. I'm sure you got a few years of that ahead of you.
Oh yeah.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us today. So, for everyone tuning in, the reason we're here, the exciting thing that we've got to show you is the Infomatix Metaverse. We've created the first iteration of the space with the artist Sirkitree here. What we were trying to do was marry together the two products that are really the foundation of the business, which are Gnosis and Infomatix. The two products allow you to understand your portfolio and your investments in a very visual and intuitive way. And really to take that to the next level, the metaverse made a lot of sense for us as a way to extend the functionality of Gnosis and Infomatix and make it much more immersive. And so obviously that was a very new thing for us. We didn't have the skill set within the team. And then we found Sirkitree. So we linked up a couple of months ago and I started downloading all the ideas we were having, and amazingly Sirkitree was just saying, yep, we can do that. We can do that. Which was amazing for me. And now a couple of months later, we finished the proof of concept. So what we're about to go through today is the look and feel is right. We're not pulling live data. That will be sort of the next main project we're working on, but as a way to demonstrate what we're trying to do in the direction we're going, I think this is a really good example. So Sirkitree, do you want to maybe take us through a little bit about how you approach the problem and then what we've actually built together over the last couple of months?
Certainly. Thanks, Nathan. Yeah. So I did first a bunch of research, learning about what info is and what Gnosis is and how they were related, which currently they aren't quite related, other than the token is something you could use in Gnosis, to track it. But in my findings, the info website, Infomatix, has sort of a branding and a design language to it. And so I really wanted to use that and utilize that along with some of the visuals, like the intro video and all of the 3D assets that are used for that intro video, and sort of use that as a branding language around a portfolio such as Gnosis, a portfolio manager. And so I'm going to switch my view here to a first person point of view. I basically started with sort of a blank canvas here. It's a very blank world, but pulled in some of the imagery, just taking screenshots of the website. So things on the website, such as the roadmap for the token, just data, the robot, man, I love the robot. The robot is awesome. You've even got iconography around the robot. Learned a little bit about the actual utility of the token, looked into some of the partners for the project. It's just a really strong project. And then, looking at the team and seeing the research of the team. So all that is kind of in here, and you can view it and, just look at it like a website. But then I took some of the 3D assets and brought those into virtual reality here. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so you can get a little bit more of the scale of this building. This is like a hallway that you see in the video that's on the website. We got the 3D asset there. The colors are a little bit different. I changed some of the materials around, but in general, I wanted to sort of stick with that look and feel. So this main area here, you kind of walk across this bridge that pops out for you, and
that's amazing.
You come into where the robot is. The robot itself actually has a little bit of action on it. It follows you. So as I move from side to side, it just kind of looks at you, and it gives a little bit of feeling of intelligence behind it, or some sort of actor, and
Yes.
I'm hoping that would be something we could actually hook up to some artificial intelligence. I think that would be really cool if you could interact with the robot in here, and, like, I don't know, maybe ask it for recommendations or something. That'd be pretty cool.
That actually brings us to a great point just to speak to a little bit. So our co-founder, Tamer, is the CEO of Ybot.ai, and they build intelligent chat systems. We're working together with them right now on getting all of the commands that are possible within the space programmed into voice commands. So you'll be able to speak directly with the robot.
Oh,
So
that's so cool.
yeah, so that's Ybot's specialty. So we'll have, I guess, a list of commands that are possible. And all of those, you'll just be able to talk to the robot. So if you're researching Bitcoin, you'll be able to ask the robot to pull up information on Bitcoin, and it will just do it. Or if you've purchased, half an Ethereum, you tell the robot, hey, I've just bought half an Ethereum, and it'll add it to your portfolio that you see down there on the corridor. So that is actually going to be coming very, very shortly.
Oh, that's exciting. That's really exciting. I've worked with some artificial intelligence within virtual reality already, and goodness, the possibilities are just astounding. They really are. Just having some sort of digital virtual assistant that you can interact with and talk to in a 3D space, it just feels revolutionary. Like it's the future. It really is.
Yeah. It's like
so excited about this.
The great concrescence of sort of all the technologies coming together.
Yeah. So back to the robot. That was just sort of a little extra I threw in because I just love the robot. This piece right here, I was thinking, there's an authentication point in this, and right now, of course, this isn't hooked up to live data as we talked about, but as a concept, you might want to come to this space and not be able to see the portfolio yet, and have some mechanism for logging in. And so when you approach this, it has the handprint to say, maybe you want to touch this. It expands and contracts when you pull your hand away. And then, just has a bit of a menu system here. As you hover over these buttons, it just sort of changes this icon. But these could be functions in which maybe you put in a passcode or something like that to actually unlock and log into your portfolio. And then what that would affect would be this piece, which is an actual visualization of the portfolio. And I can sort of show how this works here.
Yeah, this is awesome.
So this is sort of the inspiration around this was Gnosis. There is the bubble view on Gnosis. And so I took a lot of the colors and the color scheme and some of the icons that you see on Gnosis, put them into bubbles. The bubbles, the way they work on Gnosis, they are bigger when there's more value. They hold more value. So I sort of replicated that idea here. And then this table, you can grab and move around, just pull it around. And it has this little ticker tape on it to give you an idea of how many total assets you have, what your total value is, and maybe some change over time. Again, this isn't hooked up to live data, but gives you an idea of how this might display.
Looks amazing.
The functionality along the side would be something like you could add an asset, click on here, pull up the add an asset window. This is just a screenshot from Gnosis. And then maybe you could, put that information in here like that. Or as we talked earlier, be able to just talk to the robot, And then with the delete functionality, my thought there, I didn't really implement this, but it would be pretty nice to just grab one of these and put it in the trash can and then it goes away. So that would be amazing. Kind of a nice functionality there. Speaking of grabbing these, any one of these actually has data within it that could be displayed by taking it and putting it on this area. It grabs it and pulls up a larger screen that you can then sort of page through. So here we have maybe the asset, whatever this asset would be. The asset name would be across the top. You'd have your chart, things that you might see on Gnosis here. And then you could page through this to go to different pieces. This here is just an example of like the video. And then maybe some news about that particular asset, a summary, whatever information you wanted on these panels. You could have live data feeding into these panels, particularly about that asset. And then, when you're done with it, you just pull it back down and put it back on the table and, go on to another asset that you want to inspect perhaps.
Yeah, those panels really solve a tricky problem for us. It's how do we get enough information to the user without sort of overwhelming them, and that's something we struggle with in Gnosis at the moment. But allowing us to segment it like that, where we have a very simplistic view like we're looking at now, where we just see the weighting within the portfolio and the asset name, but then being able to give the user that expanded view where they can see as much information as they want on the turnstile. Really makes it much easier for us to communicate the right amount of information without overwhelming people. So that was a genius idea of yours.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you liked it. I thought it was really fun to work with. So then the background here, I originally had just created something pretty for the background, it's sort of reminiscent of a hallway, which is something you see in the video. And then Nathan had the idea, well, what if we made that functional? Let's put the actual assets out there and be able to sort of, fly around down the hallway and be able to see information about each asset. So here's an example of maybe we have some real estate and we have particular information about the real estate. And then we just keep going down the hallway. And if you stay in the middle, you can kind of just look from left to right to sort of look at whatever your particular asset is, get the information. And then the giant icons give you a very easy way to say, oh, I want to see that one way down there, and then just fly down there and go see what the information is. So it not only gives you, with the sort of panel that we have, sorry, there's no light out here, so it's it's really hard to see me. But we have that first interface with the table, which gives you a way to sort of a user interface that you can interact with. But then you have this idea of exploring an environment and having things laid out in a spatial manner is also really important for memory. You remember where things are. Our bodies are built, our whole genealogy is built around navigating a three-dimensional world and remembering where things are placed in your house, for instance, or like, where the bathroom is and the utility of the bathroom, right? Here, where your Pokemon cards are and where you can get that information. You can fly out to see that really quickly. So that was sort of the idea that became this hallway here. Yeah.
Okay. This is amazing. This wasn't really a part of the original scope, but it kind of just organically evolved out. And I think it's one of the coolest parts of the space. I think one of the great ways this will be used is sort of the key portfolio will be in that central place that we were looking at earlier. And this can be for everything that's on the research list or in consideration or not yet acted upon. And so we can sort of go down, use that as a research hub and then come back to this central place to look at the more core parts of the portfolio. And that mandala behind your head is just such a cool feature.
Thanks. I like to do a lot of mandala art within VR. There's some research I've done on mandalas. You see mandalas in 2 dimensions all the time, but really they are 3D representations when you get down to it. And so creating them in 3 dimensions in VR, I mean, you just have endless space to do that and explore it. And I just find it fascinating.
Yeah, I think it's a very cool, almost like that symbolic representation of that Archimedean point, sort of looking in on the closed space which we've created. So that just tickles me pink. Okay, look, that was amazing. What you've built so far is absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
What we have coming up, everybody, is we've built the proof of concept so that now when we're explaining to people what we want to do and where we're trying to go, we can actually show everybody. This particular space is open to the public from now. So if you have Neos and you have Steam, you can jump in here, you can play around, get a feel for it, see it for yourself. If you have the VR headset, even better, you can totally immerse in it. What we're now doing is building this out into a more mature, more comprehensive product that works live. So the next things on our roadmap are bringing in live data. We're speaking to a couple of people about different ways to solve that problem. Animating the robot, which we're very lucky that we have the relationship we have with Ybot, because that would be a very tricky process for us to do. But we've got that team there, and we'll be building out some more comprehensive research tools within this space. So is it a bit early to talk about that, Sirkitree?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit early. I have a
Okay.
couple of ideas for designs around it, but in general, I think the idea will be to choose some sort of asset that you want to research, get a list of, or maybe some commodities that you want to research, get a list of companies, hopefully have some that are highlighted because maybe they're doing well or just of special interest, and be able to drill down into that information and see that in 3 dimensions. So rather than having just a flat spreadsheet, being able to sort of experience it and be immersed in the data. And hopefully that gives investors or any potential investors a little more intuition in what they would want to invest in. So.
Okay, perfect. So we will have more to say on that a little bit later on, but there's some very cool things I think we'll be able to do that will facilitate investors' research process and give them a bit of an edge, which I think is one of the core focuses for us, sort of leveling that playing field between the tools that retail and institutions have, to sort of make it a bit more fair. So really excited to see all of that. We've got a couple of big months coming up with this particular project, building it out and making it sort of a real living, breathing place where people can come and do everything that we've demonstrated with this, but actually sort of with live, real information and an individual user's environment, rather than sort of a single environment that everyone comes to check out. So Sirkitree, thank you so much for taking us through the space. It's incredible what you've been able to achieve so far. And we'll be back with an update once we've got some more to show everybody.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.